The reason why I started Temple Garden Yoga is because I wanted to see yoga benefit people like me. I couldn't walk for 10 months due to a combination of not moving enough and participating in our modern life of ultra-processed food that our body doesn't recognize as food, and then it invokes inflammation into our bodies. And this combination of the modern sedentary life mixed with food that is lacking in nutrients and actually stimulating our body to become more and more inflamed, it's a recipe for pain in the long term. So as a result of my experience, I made a system that I used to help myself, addressing the lack of the range of motion, activating the muscle, meaning building strength, but it doesn't mean you have to go to a gym and lift weights or anything like that. It just means moving the muscle within, or excuse me, moving the limb within the new range of motion that you found. And by becoming more aware of my nutritional choices, I was able to adequately address my inflammation within my body and be standing here in front of you today. The system that I made will address specifically back pain in an array of scenarios, from severe and debilitating all the way down to just a nuisance that nags at you. The best way to distinguish restorative yoga from aided yoga is restorative yoga is a slower, long hold yoga. It's often the yoga that new people will start when they discover yoga. The transitions from one pose to another, they're not necessarily flowy or even elegant, so anybody can do it. Whereas aided yoga, also anybody can do it, but there's a lot of people that for whatever reason, due to their pain, due to their maybe their size, maybe just not believing that they can do more to help themselves, aided yoga allows them access to a person to help put them into positions, regaining access to range of motion and providing relief to the areas that are neglected in our body. Easy to do, anybody can do it, from somebody who hasn't stretched or been mobile in years, all the way to the advanced yoga student. Aided yoga can get you deeper into poses, no doubt. When somebody new comes to me, they're going to be triaged into one of three places. They're either going to be a beginner, where the foundations and basics are secure. This is often aided yoga, so this may be a table stretch, possibly floor stretching on a yoga mat. We'll do body weight resistance and training. This provides the stimulation and the activation of the muscle within the ranges of motion that you're now accessing. Myocardial vascular and fast twitch movement. This often can be a form of boxing or even walking outside, just moving the body. And then there's a nutritional awareness that is underlying and is constantly being discussed whenever we meet. I want to encourage people to do more for themselves concerning their nutrition. It's a very hard battle because, well, we're kind of addicted to this food. It was designed to be addictive, and there's really no qualms about that. People understand that fast food and things like Doritos and Oreos and Cheetos, they're addictive in nature. And so This is the beginner level. As for the intermediate level, we're typically going to do more restorative and floor yoga in combination with activation that I would describe as calisthenics in nature. As for the advanced level, this is an Ashtanga yoga pose sequence that I make alignment and adjustments to the yoga practitioner. As for the specific system that I develop, it works from the spine outwards, going to the hips, the shoulders, then the ankles, and the wrist. If we re-access lost range of motion in these areas, then we will feel a lot better and we'll be able to move easier and to just get more done. In the back, from the bottom of our skull to our heels, we have something called a posterior kinetic chain. So we attack that with things like forward folds and an array of other approaches that lengthens that posterior kinetic chain of muscles in our back, hips, thighs, calves, through the shoulders, etc. As for the hips, and the big thing is to be able to rotate the femur in the hip. And sometimes I'll work with someone who will say, well, I don't understand why this hip stuff has anything to do with my back. It's because of one muscle called the psoas muscle. It connects to the L2, L3, L4, L5. S1 runs through the pelvic bowl and attaches to the top of the femur. It is the muscle involved when we lift our knee up or any type of rotation where our ankle is coming across the center line or towards the inside of our body. The flexion where the ankle is going away from the center line of the body, this would have more to do with the piriformis, which is also a booger that haunts modern people. It's this combination of working that will unlock the low back and free up lost movement that has become stiff otherwise. There are many principles that I integrate in my work, but there's three primary principles that everyone should understand. Number one, the first principle is momentum. Momentum is the direction wherever we're heading. And if our momentum is going this way and we're slowly gaining a few pounds every year, and as the decades go by, it multiplies, we want that momentum to go in the other direction. And when does a teeter-totter tip? Well, when you get over the 50% mark. And once that happens, that's when you start seeing growth. But in order to make that happen, one of the next principles that goes hand in hand with momentum is edge. We have to push the edge of where we're comfortable in order to make gains deeper. And once we get deeper, we don't want to lose ground from the advance that we've gained. So we want to create new normals, leaving behind what does not serve us, and move further into a more healthier state of being. A new normal. So, in order to receive my one-on-one personal schedule, fill out the information below. I'm going to personally respond to you within 24 hours. I will give you, for absolutely free, a consultation that's typically worth $50. We'll take approximately an hour and we're going to discuss your conditions and a strategy to move forward. So submit your information below. Do it right now. Do not hesitate. I only have limited capacity for students. Help me help you. Thank you so much for watching.